r/ask Reddit by online comps. What's the stupidest way you've hurt yourself? As a security guard, I was running to deal with an issue and my flashlight came out of its pouch, went between my foot and the ground, stepped on it, and broke my ankle. I was 8 years old and running home on my lunch break so that I could watch Inspector Gadget, which came on at noon. I decided it would be neat to look down at my feet while I ran, and next thing I know I've run full speed into a parked car. I think I laid like a dead body on the road for a good 5-10 minutes. It hurt so badly. I was late for my Inspector Gadget episode and never told anyone what happened. Alright, so my sister is only 1 year older than me, and when we were very young, me 3 and her 4, we were in the bath together. I guess my mom thought this way was easier. She left to get something, and my sister said that I should dive into the tub like a dolphin. Me, being the idiot toddler I was, decided this was a wonderful idea and I've written. Had to get 3 or 4 stitches and a lifetime of stories told about it. I can hear the bark from here. I can hear the aunts and uncles at Christmas from here. Hit myself in the hand with a hatchet. It was so cold I didn't notice until I looked down and saw the blood. When I was a kid I was chopping wood, missed the log, and went straight into my rain boot. I tried to throw a dart into the bullseye on a dartboard that was on the floor, but threw the dart right into my left foot instead. Hurt yourself? Well, they were right. I was that kid who ran with untied laces. I fell and instinctively put both my arms out. I landed on my right hand/arm and managed to snap my forearm and dislocate my wrist, as I had dislocated my wrist before, as I was accident prone. I attempted to pop it back in myself in panic. I can't describe the crunchy noise that my arm made or the pain I felt. I then had to walk to the nurse's office at my school and wait for my parents to pick me up. They didn't think it was serious. At the hospital the x-ray was a little extreme and I had to have surgery to correct my arm 14 years later, and my wrist still isn't the same and it still hurts in the cold. Life tip: tie your fucking laces. I was finishing up this intense jigsaw puzzle, which was on a low table, so I spent the entire night crouching on the balls of my feet. The next morning, my right foot turned purple and swelled up to the size of a large orange. I was on crutches for a couple of weeks. I wonder if I can jump high enough to hit the door frame with my head. When I was 13 I was walking down my street and there was a bee that landed on me right under my eye. In a brilliant move I brain farted and punched myself in the face trying to swat it away. My sister did a version of this. She swung a loaded shopping bag at a wasp, which was flying between her and my mother. Missed the wasp, but not my mother, who had no idea what was going on and just thought my sister had lost her shit and whacked her with a heavy shopping bag out of pure spite. So my mum rolled up her sleeves and set about my sister whilst I walked on as though I had never seen either of them in my life before. Edit: oh hey, thank you for the platinum, kind redditor. Kind of makes up for the public disgrace. I went to take a plate of Totino's pizza rolls out of the microwave. The plate was so fucking hot that I dropped it. Molten cheese bounced up and was burning through my ankle. I went to stick my foot in the sink to run it under cold water, as if I'm flexible enough to stand on one foot and get my leg up that high. I fell backwards and cracked my head like an egg. I had a 3rd degree burn on my ankle, 2nd degree burn on my fingers and 6 staples to the dome. 4 fucking pizza rolls at age 30. Drank from a glass bottle while walking. Knocked out a piece of my tooth. Also knocked out the isinglass. That's the partial lisp from one missing tooth. My brother was teasing me while I was doing homework. Think I was maybe 8 or 9 at the time. And after a few minutes, I snapped. Took my pencil and went to jab him with the eraser end so as to not hurt him too badly and get him to shut up. To get a bit more force behind it, I decided to wrap my index finger over the other end, the end with the point. I'm sure you can guess what happened next. A lot of crying and a trip to the emergency room later. I had a pencil point being removed from my finger. When I was about 16, I was telling some story to my sister's boyfriend. I was rather animated about it and began to flail my arms about until I hit the glass fixtures of our ceiling fan and showered glass upon myself. Part of the glass cut around my nose and I began to rain blood. was left with a nice scar and a decent story about situational awareness while speaking. Jumped from the roof of our house when I was 10 to see if it hurts or I'll survive. When I landed it was like an electric shock on my feet. Edit. I survived and yes it was stupid, but when you are a child you tend to brag anything to your friends, so yeah. Did hurt like hell though. I did the same thing, except I used an umbrella instead of parachute, and when my friend asked, does it hurt, I said no, so that he does the same. I know it sounds very Looney Tunes, but I actually stepped on the head of a rake once, and the handle hit me in the face. As a kid I saw a rabbit on the other side of a fence, so I tried to climb over, knowing full well it was hot wire. Naturally I fell off the wood between the wires, and damn near electrocuted myself when I fell onto the wire. Never did get a hold of that stupid rabbit. That pesky warbit. When I was 5, I was rushed to the ER twice in the same week. First I slid down the banister as the door below swung open, and I crashed headfirst into the corner of the door. Then 3 days later I was playing on the radiator, slipped off, and smashed my head again. Doctors thought my parents were abusive and there was an investigation over it, apparently. I was listening to music while getting ready to cook dinner and decided to use the frying pan as a mic. Did one of those look away from the mic to take a breath moments only to turn back dramatically at a powerful lyric and hit myself in the face with the pan. Happened 6 years and 3+ days ago. Was home alone early afternoon. Believed I was home alone. But then I heard a noise that I thought was inside the house. No one else should be home but me, so I was spooked. I crept out and listened for movement and thought I heard a voice downstairs. I tried to sneak down the stairs, but only made it to the first step. By the second step my heel slipped out from under me and I planted hard on the step and slid down to the last 3 steps, finally able to stop. My shoulder was sore trying to save myself on the rail. My back is beat to hell from hitting all the steps down. My tailbone is pulsing, nothing but pain. Trying to get up made it worse. Nothing felt broken. I was able to get up after a minute or so and baby step around the corner where I found the source. It was my neighbors talking in their backyard, and brother had his window open allowing it to carry into the house. For 5 years, if I sat longer than an hour my tailbone/coccyx hurt. Watching movies, which I love, was always troublesome. I got seat cushions for it that I couldn't go without at home. About 7 months ago it just stopped. No more pain. Edit. From another comment about it. A few months after the incident I was diagnosed with kidney failure and was on dialysis for a month shy of 5 years when I got a kidney transplant. Throughout my whole sickness I talked about the injury with doctors, had scans, and of course detailed look because of the transplant. No fractures were found. At worst, I had a mini fracture. At best, the excess fluid was exacerbating it. After the transplant I've taken it as a strong possibility that it finally healed thanks to no excess fluid hanging around. One of the small reasons I opted for peritoneal dialysis over hemodialysis. I was leaning over a fence post trying to bend straight and I just missed it and bent. Only rather than use the claw of the hammer, I used the face of the head of the hammer, slipped off and smashed myself in the forehead. A good 15 years later, and I still have a scar on my forehead like a shit Harry Potter. I once went on my balcony to smoke a cigarette, only I forgot there was no balcony anymore because it was getting fixed. So I broke my leg falling 1 story down. Now the real irony was, my mother wanted to fix the balcony because it was old and she was afraid it might break off and I might hurt myself. I hope someone watched you just walk out of a door into thin air a story up. Shit, I wish I watched you do it. In, like, a nice way. Edit. I can't believe this is my most successful Reddit comment. I'm an asshole. At work. When I moved to my new workplace, I was forced to switch from regular steel toes to heavy duty boots with a plate over the laces for my protection. While unloading a load of steel, the plate, that is there for my protection, caught on the lip of a steel beam I was stepping over on the stockpile and dropped me from standing up with my head 6 feet up to ground level. Very luckily, there was a 10x6 steel beam to catch me on the edge to keep my head from hitting the concrete floor, and I only had to get 12 staples and take a week off work. Of note, the only reason I bought the fucking boots in the first place is that the GM noticed I didn't have them and told me if I didn't show up next shift with them, I'd be sent home. In high school I was showing off with a staple gun and accidentally stapled myself in the chest. Then, when telling the story later, picked up a staple gun to demonstrate and accidentally did it again. I'm not a clever person. At least you were consistent with your storytelling. Edit. Wow, thank you kind stranger for the silver. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment to express your thoughts on this video. Don't forget to click the bell icon. Thanks for watching, and I hope this cat has made your day.